My name is Anna Wiersma. Some years ago, my husband and 3 children and I visited Amsterdam, where I grew up during World War II. While passing through one of the city's canals, our tour guide stopped us and announced, "We are now passing the Anne Frank house on our left." It has become a wartime museum, as you probably all know. Visiting hours are... I didn't hear the rest of what he said, because time was rushing me back to an early afternoon in the spring of 1944. A world war is being fought around us. Air raids by Allied bombers on Nazi military targets keep us awake at night. But high school life goes on as normally as possible. My friend Kati and I have decided to risk playing hooky that day. We will forego PE, lunch, and art class for a nice stroll through downtown Amsterdam. But a familiar sound is infiltrating the city noises. The sound of high-flying airplanes, heavy with bombs. Suddenly the Nazis start up their anti-aircraft guns with ear-splitting explosions. Little white clouds burst out among the moving dark dots as they aim for a direct hit. The wailing sound of the air raid sirens pierces the air. Halfway back to school, the shooting seems to concentrate directly above our heads. We press our bodies against the brick wall of a tall old house. Red-hot pieces of shrapnel fall in front of us, bouncing and shattering in all directions on the asphalt, or plunging into the canal water with a sharp, sizzling sound. "Are we ever crazy?" I murmur, almost in panic, while protecting my head with my folded arms. "Don't worry," Kati replies, "we'll make it." Kati is right. That afternoon, we return safely to school. Long, terrible months follow. Unending transports of entire Jewish families are shipped to Poland. SS soldiers loot the empty houses in the Jewish quarter of Amsterdam. Active resistors, hostages, and saboteurs are executed, sometimes on a busy street in broad daylight. People passing by, young and old, are forced to watch these shootings. All Dutch men between 18 and 50 years old are dragged off to Germany to work for the Nazi war machine. The thousands who refuse to go and those who are discovered helping hide all these persecuted people are also hauled away to concentration camps. When the liberating Canadian infantry finally reaches Amsterdam on a beautiful day in May 1945, we are weak and skinny from starvation, but we are alive and ready to celebrate. Kati and I are among those who dance deep into the night from one street party to another. One day, several months later, Kati and I are sitting on a small balcony outside my room. We are studying silently, sipping lemonade and listening with one ear to some background radio music. Suddenly, the music stops and a woman announces that she will read some pages from a diary that was found in one of Amsterdam's attics. This diary, she says, was written by a teenage Jewish girl, Anne Frank, who had been hidden in that attic until August of 1944. In that month, she was discovered by the Gestapo and deported with her family to Auschwitz. When the announcer mentions the address of this hiding place where the diary was found, Kati and I put our books down and we look at each other in disbelief. That was on the canal street where we took shelter during that air raid, remember? Kati says excitedly. We listen in growing sadness to excerpts from Anne's diary, not realizing then that these same words would eventually become famous the world over. She writes about an air raid and how she sees the planes from the attic window. We must have looked at the same airplanes that afternoon. If we had known, we could have visited her, Kathy says again. Hush, I answer impatiently. How could we have known? If we had only known, Kathy says again. We could have taken her out with us. We could have given her our sweater without the star. How can I comfort her, and how can I comfort myself? God has her soul, I say finally. She's free after all, and maybe more so than we are. Mom, my young daughter was pulling my arm as the tourist boat scraped along the wall of the docking pier. Mom, aren't you going to visit Anne Frank's house? I checked my watch and I shook my head, looking into her puzzled face. Too late, I said softly.